All right, next we're going to talk about Grimslingers.
Grimslingers, it was designed by Stephen Gibson, and the artist was Stephen Gibson, and it was published by Greenbrier Games.
And I'm going to start off by saying, full disclosure, thank you, Greenbrier Games, for allowing me to have a review copy of this. I will make a better attempt to tell everyone when I get a review copy. This episode is all about full disclosure.
And this is our first impression.
Yeah, this is a first impression. I mean, we have played it a couple times.
Yes.
So anyway, Grimslingers is a card game with two modes. You got a co-op mode and a versus mode. And the versus mode is essentially you got a bunch of spells. You all put a spell face down. You flip it over with a target card. And it says, okay, I'm going to attack the red player with this spell. And it does stuff. Either does damage or you lose some energy and things like that. You have 10 hit points. And essentially it's just last man standing is the winner.
Right.
There's a little bit more to it, but we'll get into the meat of that during the co-op explanation. In the co-op game, it's very similar, but you're playing up to the versus mode is up to 6 players, but the co-op mode is only up to 4. In a 4-player game, you actually have a different storybook that you go through, and the storybook has 3 different chapters, probably 60 to 90 minutes each chapter, and it's like kind of it's not really a choose your own adventure because there's really not a lot of choices. It just says this happens, go here. This happens, go here.
Right.
You got this little map on the board. You move this little red meeple around to the different, what's called nodes. There's like attack nodes. Sometimes there's an event. Sometimes there's a special area in which in the book for the story has a special unique scenario that happens when you go there and different things trigger and stuff. But essentially, you're kind of learning the story of the Grimslingers and how you became a Grimslinger and what you're supposed to do as one and stuff like that. So anyway, let's start off by saying this. We're going to talk just about versus mode real quick.
Okay.
Now, I know you only played we have 5 people?
Yes.
I played it with 2 players. I'm going to start off by saying I was not a fan of free-for-all.
No.
Not in the slightest.
Mm-mm.
Some people are going to love this. There's another Greenbrier's game called Yashima, and I did a review of that on the Dice Tower. And I said the same thing. Like, some people are going to like the free-for-all aspect of it. I don't. Whether that's a big deal to you, that you have to decide that for yourself, but the team play is a lot better. Now, we haven't played team play in this game, but just based on how 1 and 2 players work, team play I can see being really fun.
Right.
So what the interesting thing is about these spell cards is it's kind of like a paper, rock, scissors match. There's I think 6 spells. I think 6 core spells.
Right. Yeah, I think
lightning,
that's right.
fire, earth, water.
Yeah, elements.
It's like elements. And so when you play it, it says the card that it beats and the card that it's weak against. So if I play a card and you play a card and we target each other, or if we're just playing 2 players and we, obviously targeting each other, then we compare those elements. And if I beat you, your card doesn't happen. I do damage to you and I get the effect on my card as well. Or vice versa. Or if neither of them beat each other, then we go into a contested mode. I told you we're going to cough in this episode.
It happens.
Anyway, when you go into contestant mode, you go into this very blackjack style of play.
Right.
Where you got a small little number deck. There's 1 through 5 twice. You shuffle them up and you basically say, you flip, each person gets a card. And I think whoever has the highest goes first. If they have to choose to hit me by getting another card, or they can hold. Once both players hold, whoever has the highest number hits the other person. They win that match. It's almost like Dragon Ball Z. They're like firing off this like elemental beam, and the other person fires off an elemental beam, and they're contesting in the middle, and it's like a big glowing ball.
Right.
And like, like trying to like push it over the edge to get it off to hurt the other person.
Right.
That's what I picture. I don't know if that's what you pictured. Is that what you pictured?
No.
Well, you should have pictured that.
Yeah. Maybe from now on.
Doesn't it sound like it now I explain it?
Yeah, no, I get the kind of like tug of war match.
Yeah, it's like a
going.
tug of war match where your elemental beams are hitting each other in the middle. Anyway, there's some cool stuff about it. You can, if you hit 11, which is essentially the 21, you apex, you get to do extra damage. And if they exhaust, meaning they bust and go over the 11, they take double damage. So it is very risky to try to do that. Kind of wish the Apex was a little bit more powerful because, I mean, that's hitting it right on the dot. But maybe mathematically it happens more than what it happened to us. I don't know. Anyway, I do like it 2 players. I wasn't a big fan of free-for-all, but in a 2-player game, it kind of reminds me of those games like Brave Rats.
Yep.
Stuff like that, because it's all about deduction. Because as you play a spell card, it's no longer in your hand. You can do things to spend energy to get them back.
Right.
But you're allowed to look over, or at least we played it this way. You can look over and be like, you played those 4 spells. I know which 2 you have left. You're missing some hit points. You're probably going to play this one, but I know that I know that. And you might know that I know that, and blah, 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 blah. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's a bunch of, like, deduction
it's Princess Bride all over again.
Yeah.
The battle of wits.
Yeah, right, exactly. You know that I know that you know. So there's a lot more of that. In a free-for-all game, especially with 5 and 6 players, it straight up never happens. Because you have to be targeting each other first off.
Right.
People never target the same person. They always try to kill this one person or whatever. It's just chaotic, is, I guess, the best way to describe it.
Too many beams going all over the place.
Yeah, people are just firing all over the place like a death match. Like if there was some sort of maybe board where you're moving guys around and like you can kind of predict.
You can only target certain people.
Then maybe there's a lot more tactical strategy to it, but I don't think it needs that. I'm just saying.
Right.
What did you think about the story? Because we played chapter 1.
We played this, chapter 1.
Yeah.
Story mode, entertaining. Maybe the only negative thing I'll say is, again, but I don't know what it would take to do this. Very linear. If you could do this, choose your own adventure, like Arabian Nights or something in this setting.
Yeah.
Talk about craziness. I think that would be super awesome. But I mean, for what it is, it's still good. That's just my wishful thinking.
Yeah. For what you get in this box, because it's a small box. It's a ton of game. Right. Regardless if you never play the free-for-all and you just play one-on-one and teams and then do the story. Now, the story really has 0 replayability because it is like reading a novel. I mean, you read it, you know what happens, right? So you get the story, but you could still play it again and try to level it up and try to, see how far you can get leveled up, and I don't know.
Right, because story mode, I think the only big decisions you have is the route you're going to take if you want to fight or do the I can't remember what the other
the special
situation
locations
cards or something like that.
The events.
Events. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, the events. So pretty much the only choice you have is, do I want to do an event and a fight, or 2 fights, or there's a rest on this way, just depending on what you got.
Well, you do have like the location nodes where you go and like you might go to one location, and remember the one that, spoiler alert, so if you don't want to hear what any of these do, skip ahead.
Right.
All right, long enough. So basically one of them will be like you're sneaking through like the goblin cave.
Goblins.
Remember? Yeah, you found some goblins and they've looted a bunch of stuff. But you get there, I think you were crossing a bridge and we fell.
You did.
Well, whatever.
I got across.
Well, either way, we got the loot. Guys, and like you flip over those random cards like from the blackjack style of play. You flip those over and you get to 1 through 5 options.
Right.
But you're trying to press your luck because you're allowed to make up to 3 noises. Certain actions of those 5 options will give you 1 noise. But they'll allow you to draw item cards. So you're like, I've made 1 noise, I'm going to flip. Bam. Oh, I've made 2 noise.
Right.
Yeah.
And something super special happened if you got like a certain amount of that. I can't remember what it was, but that kind of added to the push your luck aspect of it.
I think that might have been another stage.
No, that was that one.
Was it?
Yeah, it was like if you got...
Oh, if you walked away with like 8 items,
it was 8.
You got a level.
Yeah, it was. Oh, I remember that. It was a level. That's what it was. Okay.
Yeah. So
it's just kind of adding to the pressure luck a little bit.
Right. So that's the kind of locations there are. There's maybe 10 or 11 locations on the map, but they're always the same. So if you play it again and you go there, you're doing the same, the same walkthrough, the same flow. There's no difference. It's not like a lot of things randomized, or at least in the ones that we saw. Like the arena one was pretty cool because you fight a super buffed enemy, and if you beat him, you get tons of items and stuff. And so, I mean, overall, it works out really well. I just think that, like you were saying, maybe we were wishing it to be more of a choose your own adventure thing, and that's not really what it was going for.
Right.
What it is doing right now is great.
Yes.
If they continue to bring out, like, because at this point they can bring out a rule book, which is a storybook.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that thing would be so cheap. You can add it to the game. You have tons more story.
Right.
You print another little board with different locations and stuff. It's super expandable on the cooperative side.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess it's expandable on the versus side, but I feel like the charm of the game is the cooperative mode.
I would think so.
The versus mode was there. Maybe it was derived first, but the cooperative mode is definitely the best part of it. Not saying the other one's bad, because I think one-on-one is really fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot better than I thought it was going to be for one-on-one.
Right.
So we'll have to play that, Matt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're playing this more. We got 2 more chapters to drill through. I'm looking forward to them.
Yeah, and to go on to add on to it, the artwork, amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing. It's incredible to just sit there and look at these cards. They're funny in a way. Like I was playing a dog that had a sword. I mean, everything's fleshed out really nice. It's got all this, even the book, when you're playing it, the story, it's got comical relief in it, and it's just written in a way, to keep you entertained in that sense.
Yeah.
So much fluff, a ton of fluff.
Yep. I think the best way to describe the storyline is a Wild West Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
If you're familiar with the game Destiny. And I don't know, maybe that's being a little bit too like obvious, because you got these little anima that float next to you and they kind of look like the ghosts from Destiny. So take that away though. It's like this Wild West magic. What is it called? Like the Weird West kind of.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Malifaux in some ways. I don't know if you ever played Malifaux.
No.
It's a miniature game. But it basically is Wild West with magic.
Okay.
Kind of darker. Everybody's got glowing eyes and stuff, or at least the Grimslingers do.
Right.
So yeah, you're right. I mean, he's got enough story here that you could write a novel around this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's got its own little flair. I like it.
Right.
I like the story. Superior art. I mean, you're right. This is some great artwork.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that one guy did all this, bravo.
Yeah.
Golf clap. Good stuff. I'm looking for more designs. I mean, and at least more adventure packs for this, basically, if you want to call it that.
And finishing the game, the co-op, get through that. But that's just me looking forward to doing.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to finishing the co-op, definitely, because maybe that first chapter is just kind of a taste.
Yeah.
And then the second and third chapter get crazy, you know? So looking forward to it.
Right.
Now, last thing I will say negative is all this art, gorgeous graphic design, awesome basic die. It comes with one of those white die that you get at a Yahtzee set from like 1980.
Right.
You buy the 5-pack at Walmart. Not that it's a big deal. It was just kind of funny.
It was out of place and it caught your eye.
It caught my eye pretty bad.
Because it's surrounded by all this stuff that's really neat. And then you look and you're like, what is this? Where did this come from?
Why this piece?
Right.
Why?
It could have been a colored one or something.
It'd be cool like an off-white dirty, because the whole game is like Wild West dirty kind of,
right?
So I mean, it's not a big deal. Like I said, it has no bearing on the game.
We can replace that ourselves very easily.
Right? Yeah, I actually have some really cool dice that would fit in the game.
Right.
I'd probably put a few of them in there so you don't have to like always pass it.
Mm-hmm.
Not that you roll it tons, because you're more drawing from that random number deck, but so I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
So looking forward to finishing off the story mode and actually doing a full review on it. So
sweet, get on it.
That's Grimslingers.